Hey team, this is Casey,
And this is Shannon, and you're listening to 8 Count Breakdown.
your home for all things college dance all in one place.
Heading into D1A today.
Yes, so fun fact right off the bat, all three categories in this division have the same champion as last season.
That is a fun fact.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I would say there was a lot more movement than in years past. So
Yes,
it was an exciting
absolutely.
year.
It was. And some of these teams didn't start off in first after
so much movement.
prelims or semis, even like between rounds, there was movement. So
Yeah.
even though it's the same three champions as last year, like I still think it could have been anybody's game. So I don't know. I'm really excited to talk about all these teams today.
Yeah, me too. And just all the routines. I felt like there were just phenomenal routines, like top to bottom.
Yeah, so many memorable ones that will probably
yes.
stay with me forever, and I'll probably just like keep coming back to year after year after year.
There was so much variety too that I feel like it was almost like apples and
Yes.
oranges this year, where like it wasn't like you were comparing like two similar dances. Like every single dance was so different. It was like almost a category of their own.
Yeah, it just kept you on your toes this year.
So we're going to start off with Pom. And in first, we have our back-to-back-to-back-to-back champs, University of Minnesota, our home team. Their theme this year was what's frozen in snow comes forth in the thaw. So they even had the theme like as part of their costume. They were inspired by like icicles dripping down their sleeves. You saw like with the rhinestone design. So that was really cool. The music was done by Sound Moda and Rory Waters. Choreography was done by Amanda Gaines and Anna Hilty, who have been doing it for a few years now. Amanda Gaines has been doing it for a while, but I think Anna Hilty joined recently. This is their 24th national title. They're such an unbelievably strong Pom team that like even with like they had a few stumbles in finals, but like it's so clean even when they stumble. Like the strength that they have behind all of their movement is like combined with their technique is just so hard to beat. They had really neat formations this year, I thought, like through their transitions. I loved seeing like where everyone was like lining up and moving. It really kept me on my toes. So I just thought this was a really fun, energetic, and different routine. Amanda Gaines posted, I think was it the day before finals?
I believe so.
Well, first she said she was like breaking the rules by going on her phone because her and like none of the team go on social media during this time. But she just felt, I think, moved to share some of her thoughts. One of the things she talks about was the journey is the focus, the risk of trying something different, of being vulnerable, of pushing ourselves to technical levels above what we thought we could do, to perform, to tell a story, to be athletes, to dance. That is what we control. It's just about like not being able to control the results and just how much pressure that this team holds, that she just wanted to make sure people knew that like they will never understand that unless you are a part of this team and you are having to go out on the floor and perform after winning 23 national titles and feeling the weight of that as you have to execute this incredibly physically challenging routine that probably very few people in the entire country can do. You'll never know that. We will never know that. Audience will never know that. And so I think it was just kind of a call for grace and a call for just refocusing what the purpose of this weekend is and kind of taking the pressure off of this team.
Absolutely. I think we need to, as a dance community, do a better job about highlighting the voices of the people actually doing it. Because, you know, we've talked about it time and time again that TikTok and social media are great for the sport of dance and growing the audience and just kind of giving it the visibility that it deserves, because these dancers are athletes and they work very, very hard at their craft. But at the same time, that comes with opinions that just spark controversy, and there's a lot of difficult conversations that come from that. And if we can, as dancers and as a community, just try to elevate the voices of the coaches who I think are calling for calm and just like positivity instead of the discourse and support. Yeah, absolutely. It's so needed. I just feel like dance can be such a positive community, and any way that we can find ways to enhance that, we should absolutely do that. So I loved everything about Amanda posting that. And I just could not agree more. As
Yeah.
someone who is not in her shoes, is not in the U of M's shoes from an outsider perspective, I can't fully understand what she's trying to get at.
And I think
Yeah.
she's the only person who can understand the pressure that she feels being the coach. I mean, she mentioned in that post how much she's ruminated on the thoughts of what she's done to lead up to this point and how she has or has not prepared the team to compete at this level and here this weekend. And you could just feel the pressure that she was feeling. And I'm just really proud of her for just putting it all out there and sharing her thoughts and giving people just kind of a peek behind the curtain, because we will never know. And it helps us, the more she can share, the more it helps us to understand that perspective. So moving on to second, we have Texas Tech. Super exciting to see them in the top three. They were first going into finals. Their routine was impeccable. And I think you and I both have seen them coming for a few years now. And here they are. So it's really exciting to see them here. Their music was done by Chop Jones, choreographed by Danny Eustace. Consultants were TJ Maple and Melissa Kidd. They came in second by 0.2 of a point. So basically neck and neck with the U of M. Yeah, that was
Anybody's
a fight.
game.
Yeah, but still just an incredible accomplishment for this program. This is the highest placement at UDA in program history for them. I think everybody will be talking about the full team back tuck for a very long time. That was one of the most memorable moments at UDA, I would say. Just incredible the way that they stuck that, especially in semis. Just like I could watch that over and over again. It's so satisfying. This is like what teams are looking for now. Like every team has acro in their routines now. A coach did make an Instagram post that mentioned like 5 a.m. lifting sessions, 6 a.m. ballet training, 8:30 p.m. acro lessons. She said, quote, "We didn't have a full team of dancers who could already do these things. We had dancers who wanted to learn, who wanted to be pushed, who wanted to improve every single day." Like she said, "I know I have insanely high expectations," and they lean into that. And that's the only way that this program works, right? Is when you have dancers that are aligned with the coach's vision and they come out with things like that. I feel like this dance also showed their like amazing legs, like not only their jumps, but just like leg holds. It was like, this team is crazy in their flexibility and strength. When teams get this fire under them, I feel like getting second in this D1A Pom and Jazz category, like when you're not U of M or Ohio, like really lights that fire. I think their motto this year was, "Why not us?" And so I feel like now they're like, it can't be us. It was us. We were up there. So let's keep going. And now that they have all of these skills that they've gained this season, they can just keep building on that. And in third place, we have Ohio State, music by Chop Jones. This theme was like sending a message about the internet pinning teams against each other, kind of like we've been talking about, and just like how much commentary there is about who should have won and just negativity in general, like tearing teams down instead of building them up. So I thought it was a great message and cool to have it in a Pom routine. It seems, when you hear that message, I feel like it seems more of a jazz theme, but I loved that they incorporated it into Pom and just made a really powerful, strong performance out of that. Their head choreographers were Katie Devine and Haley Willis. Their assistants were Marley Blanchard and Diana Natalicio. Consultants were Carson Rowe, Kelsey Maffey, and Terry Lee Rowe.
I feel like this dance and this theme gives, like, I'm going to say it, Taylor Swift reputation. The whole album was like everything that people have been saying about her, like on the internet and all the discourse and like all the hate that she's been getting. I don't remember if it was like concert or a music video, but like she overlaid like sound bites from like people on the news, like speaking bad about her.
Yeah.
And just like threw them all under the bus. And I feel like that's kind of what Ohio did. It's just like calling out the drama and just being like, hey, we see you.
And now the whole world does too. If you're going to put your opinion out on the internet, it's free reign, right? Like it helps people to think twice before they post something on the internet, because it could be put in next year's dance.
Sometimes dance is so much deeper than just the dance. A lot of times teams do try to like make a statement with more than just their like choreography.
And I feel like that's what they were trying to do here too, is like, to me, it felt like when they were doing that part at the end where they had like the crowd interaction where they were like waving the rally towels left and right, I feel like they were like trying to send the message of like, we're doing this for fun. Like we love this sport. It brings us joy. Like it's not that deep. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we love it and it like means so much to us and we care so much about it. But at the end of the day, like, we do this because we love it and like, let's all have fun together and like, it's a party up here. So
I
I
think
don't
that
know.
that's a great perspective to have.
Coming in fourth, we have University of Cincinnati. They were fourth last year as well. And they've been like fourth, fifth, sixth for the past 7 years. And I think they only got
They're
sixth
going to
once.
be on my list next year.
Yeah. Their theme was UC. So obviously that's the initials for their school, but it was all like songs about seeing or looking like with your eyes. So it was like a very, very cool play on words. It was choreographed by Jillian Zagorski of Tribe 99. There was like absolutely sick group work in this dance. My eyes were constantly darting every different direction for the different groups. Like there was just so much movement all over the floor and like layers to the choreo. And I just felt like there were so many in Pom, there's like so many loud beats or like explosions or bangs and like something really cool happens on it. And I just felt like that was happening on like every count or like every other count. And someone like somewhere on the floor was popping off. And I was like, what? I couldn't
You
even.
love a group. You love a little small group or solo
But it was
moment.
so much too. Like it's not like you were like watching one group for an 8 count and then you would go watch another group for an 8 count. Like it was just like everywhere on the floor there was something happening where your eyes would be pulled there on the next count and it would go like back and forth and to different. It was really cool. I just really enjoyed it. Props to the choreographers. I would say the 2 stars of this dance were the theme because I thought that was super clever. And then the small group and solo turns. Those were incredible. There was like a group of 4 on center that did a triple float. That was like the most synchronized triple float I've ever seen. And then there were a couple of like massive solo turns. And by that, I mean like they did like 10 pirouettes without flinching. I mean, on releve, they didn't move a centimeter. And then they would like slow down towards the end and then just like jump into choreo right on beat. Like it was really impressive. So really powerful choreo from Cincinnati. In 5th, we have University of Tennessee. So Tennessee won Pom. They won this category back in 2020 and they've placed 3rd 4 out of the past 5 years. So just a really strong Pom team. Their music was done by Sounds Like That. It was choreographed by Katie Fearlane and Famie Link of Tribe 99. They had a very unique exit out of their full team turn set in this dance. You know, I love like cool entrances and exits and turn sets. And they did like a plie attitude turn down to the ground. It was really cool. But I just feel like they bring something different every year and you just never really know what to expect from them. But they're always able to keep up with these top teams and they have just such great technique and choreo and tricks. They really have it all. And so I feel like that's what keeps them up there no matter what the dance looks like. They have the skills to be up at the top and it's really fun to see what they bring each year.
Absolutely.
In 6th, we have Penn State. Their theme was like a whiteout football theme, which was really, really fun.
This one.
So fun. This whole category like crushed it with the themes this year. Their music was done by Chop Jones, choreographed by Haley Holland and Jesse Palmer. They really pushed the boundaries of what typical Pom choreo in this division looks like. It was just so creative and I would call it very stylized, which you don't see very often in Pom, especially in D1A where it's moving so fast that you have to be so crisp and clean. There's not time to like slow down and give body rolls and style in this category. And so this was like so fun and so refreshing. They still kept with like the cleanliness and the strength that Pom requires and like carried their theme all the way through the routine. Like from the music, their choreography matched the theme to a T. So it was like a story at the same time. Loved the hip hop breakdown. That was super fun. And they have a Tate McRae song in their dance. And they did this move that Tate McRae does as like part of her choreo in her concerts. And so it was really like a cute little like nod to her. And it was super stylized and I loved it. It was one move, but
I love that.
Yeah.
I loved this theme so much. It just like gave game day vibes and made me feel very nostalgic for my game day experiences. And just like they had little sound bites from like probably their announcer for their games about plays that were happening, football plays. And it made me think like, what if I did a dance and in the dance it had like the Minneapolis Miracle or something? And I would just cry. I just get emotional over sports stuff like that. So I loved this theme. I was vibing.
In 7th was Rutgers. They had like a rocket ship space travel theme, which was fun. The music was done by Sound Moda. It was choreographed by Quentin Perrone, and their consultant was Maddie Rawl. If you're listening, Maddie, hi. Her and I used to coach together, and she works with my husband. Love her, miss her. Very creative theme. I feel like you could feel the fight and the power from this team. I just felt like their theme gave them energy and like helped power them through and finish as strong as they did. So I felt like that theme fit them really well. In 8th was University of Wisconsin. They had like a blow/danger theme. It was like counting down like something was going to explode the whole time. It was choreographed by Adriana Aruda of Tribe 99. This was a very athletic dance. There was like always a trick popping off somewhere. So props to all the dancers there who have a lot of strength and just like overall acro training. It wasn't necessarily like gymnastics, but it was just like a trick that would require acro training. In 9th, we have University of Iowa. They had like a Hawkeye theme, which is their mascot, but it was all songs with like up or fly and a lot of hawk sound bites. The music was done by Sounds Like That and Max Thompson, choreographed by Toya Ambrose, assisted by Kai Harris and Max Thompson. Okay, I just have to say, like, once again, the themes were so creative this year. It was so fun. I feel like a lot of times I describe pom music as like hype school spirit. Like if they don't have a theme, it's just like hype school spirit. It's like really hype songs with someone in the background saying their school name and their mascot.
Yes.
And so I was not expecting all of these themes to pop off. But yeah, I absolutely loved the little tutting section that they had in the middle of this routine. Like it's obviously not tutting because like they have poms, but it was like super sharp and staccato, but like different than regular pom. I think it was the music that made it feel like tutting. Sure. It like dropped out of the background music and was just kind of like beats, and they made their poms go along with it. And then right after it, they like spun their poms really fast, and it was a super cool visual. So very creative choreo there, and they executed it perfectly. And then in 10th, we have University of Kentucky. I think we may have mentioned this in our initial reactions video, but this is University of Kentucky's first year back in pom after quite a few years of not competing in this category. And they started off with Sue's back. So that was a really fun nod to their re-entrance into pom. But then the rest of the dance was like hype school spirit theme. So I loved, though they used the song American Boy, which talks about the UK a lot, as in like United Kingdom, but like University of Kentucky's UK.
Shut up.
I know, it was so creative. So I loved it. I also love that song. So
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either until I just rewatched
my mind. Whoa.
Their music was done by Sounds Like That, so props to Sounds Like That. And then it was choreographed by Taylor Shoup of V-Rock Spirit, which I didn't know that Varsity Spirit had their own choreography brand. So it's kind of like Tribe 99. It's like the overarching umbrella. So this one's like through Varsity Spirit, you can hire their choreographers. But yeah, they just looked like they were having a lot of fun and had a lot of confidence and fire under them. We just loved seeing their fight through this tough division and being back here. So thanks, University of Kentucky, for sharing that with us, and welcome back. And then we did want to mention UNLV missed finals by a 0.5 of a point, but it just really breaks my heart that they were that close.
With UNLV being so successful in hip hop year after year after year, one of these years they're going to be like, let's just do well in pom too. Why not?
Why not?
And just
let's crush both the categories. Yeah, it probably...
that would be so fun. Double natty champs in pom and hip hop.
Oh, that would be sick.
Instead of pom and jazz.
No one's ever done that before, I bet.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go like way back in the history and see. But like in my memory, I can't remember a time when a team won pom and hip hop. I feel like if it's double natty champs, it's pom and jazz.
It's pom and jazz. I was going to say, though, UNLV not making finals was probably softened by the fact that they won hip hop. So we can't feel too bad.
Yes. And that leads us right into UNLV winning hip hop. They are back-to-back champs. They are 7-time hip hop champions since 2013. This is their second back-to-back finish since 2018 and 2019. They now have 11 top 3 finishes since 2013. And to top it all off, they were in third going into finals and then pulled ahead after their finals performance to win this category. So just like absolutely stacked statistics there for UNLV. Their song was Annie Up. It was like a remix radio version by MOP and Busta Rhymes. Choreographer was Andrew Elam. He had 2 winning dances this year. He had D1 hip hop, Weber State, and then UNLV in D1A. So Andrew fantastic choreographer, just killing the game. So this was a very like classic hip hop with some really fun original moves throughout. Part of the team does like mountain climbers while the other half of the team like runs in place. The words are like run that. I think it says run that a couple times in a row. But I'm like, can you imagine being halfway through a routine and Andrew Ellum is like, now you're going to do mountain climbers. And you're like, okay.
That's like being like, and now
great.
you're going to do burpees at the end. Like, absolutely not.
I like the way that people hate burpees is the way that like I hate mountain climbers. So I just like would be like, can I do the running in place part instead? Somebody switch with me. But this dance was like so crispy and they had like attack behind every single move. And then I think the same guy who in last year's routine did this like little twerk moment, he is the same one that like stepped off a teammate's back this year into a death drop and just was amazing. I'm obsessed with him.
That
And
made me
then,
gasp every single time.
Every single time.
He gets so much height and then just like
So much
falls.
height. And then Elijah has like this breakdancing moment that I'm just obsessed with. He's just a fabulous dancer overall. And like him and Ava Wagner are like a power couple. He does some flares and then like, I don't know the one where you like rotate on your shoulders. I need to look that up. But
I don't either.
yeah, so talented, so fun to watch. And then this is one dance that I want like a close-up video of their faces and like the movement, because like the unison and the cleanliness is impressive with this dance, but this is one that I like wish I could have seen in person, because I bet the power and the fight just like shone through on their faces as well. And if I could feel it through a screen, like I can't imagine what it was like being in the same room watching it. So would love to see this. In second place was Louisiana State University, and they were in first after semis, but they did a Kendrick Lamar like Super Bowl mix. So last year's Super Bowl in 2025, Kendrick Lamar was the halftime, and Samuel L. Jackson portrayed Uncle Sam and had these little like speaking parts in between sets, in between songs, and they kept those little sound clips from Samuel L. Jackson. So it was just so much fun and added so much personality. But their choreographers were Sammy McFadden and Carson Rowe, and Terry Lee Rowe was a consultant on this dance. They actually missed first by a third of a point. So it was so close. It was so close. But they had a really beautiful, when they shared this video on Instagram, the caption was like pretty much written up by Carson and Sammy as just like a note to the dancers, the fans, everybody. But they said this team is rare, and went on to say the mission was always bigger than a trophy. It was about truth, influence, and leaving something behind that mattered, about choosing courage over comfort and authenticity over approval. So I just thought that that was very, very beautifully put.
I saw some of them wearing hats, especially Sammy, that said, you can't fake influence. I felt like that was like, I don't know if that's like a motto for them.
It must be. I mean, it's the lyric in the song, but I feel like the you can't fake influence is just like noting at the fact that they've had a few viral routines last few years, and like clearly they have been influential on this category. But I just loved the like over the top. The best way I could describe this was cartoon like movement during the talking parts. It was giving like theater, and it was just so fun to watch and so entertaining. I cannot record this episode without saying on the left stroke just went viral. They brought back their iconic move from Like a Boy. I saw that and like my jaw hit the floor, and I literally was like, oh, it was genius. Genius, genius, genius.
Did you see the video they posted of them sharing that part of the choreo with the team? Like the first time that they showed them what that choreo would be?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
How
it's
did I miss
so good. I think Sammy posted it.
Okay.
And
I'm
just
gonna
like
go
how
look.
excited they were to share it, and like the team just like died. Yeah, it was really
Genius.
really fun.
Genius. And then, of course, the Mustard. DJ Mustard is like the producer. It was iconic, but they were all like moving around like crazy and like banging their heads. Like somebody had to have gotten whiplash at some point during the season doing that. They shook like that several times throughout the routine, and it was just like so original, and it added so much personality. Loved it. They did something different than anything that's ever been done before with this routine. I I feel like I could watch it 1,000 times over and never get sick of it. And a statistic that I wanted to share was when I was looking at, just when I was like rewatching this video, I looked at how many views they had, and they're at 848,000 views on the team's Instagram. And I didn't even look on TikTok. I bet it's in the millions. I feel like this dance was so big because Kendrick Lamar's halftime was such a big cultural, like pop culture event, especially since it was like coming off of the like Kendrick versus Drake drama. So I think so many people connected to this routine because it just like, I know it was only a year ago, but it's like nostalgic. And I think that everybody connected to this dance in a different way than they would any other theme. So great job, LSU. In third place, University of Cincinnati. Their song was Wall to Wall by Chris Brown, and they had such cool light up shirts. Choreography was done by Mark Anthony Dizan, Ariel Padua, and Leilani Kiana. And so the light up shirts were actually like a nod to their past. I couldn't find exactly what year they did the light up shirts, but like I remember them, but I like can't find it anywhere. So I bet it's one of the dances that like isn't on YouTube. I remember it though. It's in my brain, and they like literally, after being interviewed after finals, like said that it was a nod to their past. So I know it's true. I just can't find it. So if anybody can find it, send it to me. But Shannon and I have to be honest. It's truth time. We didn't notice the light up shirts in semis.
Did you rewatch it and confirm that they actually had them on in semis?
Yes.
I still don't believe it.
Because I was just scrolling on social media and somebody posted like a close up from semis of their shirts turning on and off. And everyone was like, how did they do that? How did they do that? Like going into this was pre-finals. And I saw this video and I was like, how did I miss that?
But I felt like in finals, it was like so in your face. Like you could not have missed it, which is why.
Because I knew to
like,
look for it.
Oh, that's right. I remember because you had seen that video.
Anyways. So they have this like intricate choreo at the beginning. I want to say this routine was very like robotic, and I'm obsessed with the intricate choreo that was happening at the beginning, and just the choreography throughout was very syncopated, and I just felt like it was a dance that couldn't go with any other song because how well it fit with the beats, and every move just matches either like a lyric or backbeats, or like Chris Brown does these like awesome note riffs that they would do like moves to every like note in the riff. And the overall style like matches the vibe of the song really well. And like a few moves like really match that like 2007 era of the song. And they get really creative with their groups and their levels. Like one part is like the outer circle is down and the inner circle is up. And then in the next part, the second line is the only like group dancing. And then immediately after that, the fourth line steps out and like runs to the front. Just like the groups were so creative. I'm like not doing it justice by like describing it, but they just played really, really well with groups and levels. And honestly, perhaps like my personal favorite of the entire weekend. Sounds like a lot. So I'm going to say at least my favorite in D1A hip hop, I think, because it was just so entertaining, so fun. In fourth place was San Diego State. They did Break Your Neck by Busta Rhymes. Choreography was by Bam Martin and Darren Wong. And I like can't tell if I want to say this is like a robot or a superhero vibe, but either way, I love it. I'm probably leaning towards superhero. Most of the dance, they're sort of like mean mugging it, but there's a couple parts where they like end up smiling and having a good time. One part in particular, they're like throwing it up, kind of like if you're listening, it's kind of like 6-7 arms, but like more emphasis on the up part. But they're like if you were throwing a ball up or like hitting a balloon upwards, and they all get these like huge smiles, and you hear the whole crowd going like, "Ay, ay, ay." So fun. But they had some like great floor work throughout. My favorite part is in the second to last formation. And they're all kind of like twerking it in different ways on different levels. And they just look like they're having so much fun and they're being so cheeky. And it's just so cute and such a vibe. So when I looked up this dance to rewatch it on YouTube, all of the comments were cheering on Nicole and saying like, "Here for Nicole. Who else is here for Nicole?" And upon further research, her name is Nicole Leno. She is a beauty and lifestyle YouTuber, and she actually started her makeup YouTube at the age of 11. and is now on the team. She has 1.8 million followers on Instagram and 5.6 million on TikTok. But so many people in her comments are saying how they've watched her like grow up. And like, I'm sure she's just brought in like so many fans to the world of UDA, and like especially fans of San Diego State. If you think about it with like Macy Case from the University of Minnesota, like how many people grew up watching her on Dance Moms, and now she's on like a major university dance team. Like, it's just so interesting in this era of social media, seeing some people that are like influencers or like kind of celebrities, like go and join their teams.
But the fact that like she had another passion that was like just as strong and probably required just as much time to like become good at and to like get to the place where she is. Like,
And especially like since that brings in a different demographic too, right? So people that are more looking for the beauty and the lifestyle, you know, influencing, now you're bringing them into dance. I thought that was really interesting and wanted to note that. Another thing I noticed was their costumes, and I really, really wanted to talk about this because I'm very proud of myself for figuring this out. So at first I thought maybe they were like supposed to be Iron Man, because like their dance does give kind of like superhero vibes, especially with some of the moves that they do. And like there's a big circle on their chest like Iron Man, and they have these like gloves. It just looks like Iron Man. But after finding some pictures and like getting close up and like zooming in, it's actually like an intricate design. And I was just like, what is this? What does it remind me of? And I thought like, it kind of looks like the Aztec calendar. And I looked it up, and it's called the Aztec Sunstone. And I didn't know their moniker, but then I found out that they're the San Diego State Aztecs. So the symbol on their top is an ode to their university's nickname, the Aztecs.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
The University of Central Florida was in 5th place. Their song was by Denzoid Productions. It started with Drop by Magoo and Timbaland, and I couldn't really hear well enough in the video to figure out the rest of the songs. But choreographer was David Lawson Kibblewhite, and overall loved the vibe and energy of this dance. It's giving like hard and confident, and there was this group of 5 in the beginning that all did this like backflip. Basically, one did a layout, 2 of them did back tucks, and 2 did back handsprings, and they all landed like exactly at the same time and stuck it. It was awesome. And just really awesome group work in this dance as well. There is so much that I want to say about this dance, but I just like can't find the words to articulate it. So I highly recommend going and watching this routine. Their movement quality just fits the beats perfectly, and the team just fully committed to this character. 6th place was the University of Delaware. This was their first time competing in Division 1A, and they were in 9th after semis, so they finished in 6th. Their song was by Derek Paris, and it was like a Busta Rhymes mix, and we've heard both of these songs already. Annie Up by M.O.P. and Busta Rhymes, and Break Your Neck by Busta Rhymes. Choreography was done by Kenzie Sherry and Alicia Sloofman. Consultant was Reggie Oliver, and they had a big storyline this year. So they got 10th place last season in Division 1 and missed finals, but they came back in the hip-hop category with vengeance and something to prove in this new division, because they were previously 2023 and 2024 champions in Division 1 hip hop. And not only that, but they had the same song as 2 other teams in the hip hop category. The Champs with Annie Up and San Diego State did Break Your Neck. So D1A was feeling busted this year. And not only did they make finals, but they jumped from 9th to finish in 6th. And this team is just going to refuse to fade into the background of this extremely difficult category. I can tell that they're here to fight, they're here to stay, and they're going to keep doing amazing things. In 7th place was University of Memphis. They had a mix of songs, Over by Drake and Move Your Feet by Junior Senior. Choreography was done by Charlie Bedford, Jada Pinnock, and Shannon Perez, but they said in their Instagram post it was never about a trophy or placement. It was about being authentically us, about walking on stage as ourselves, telling our story, and standing 10 toes down in culture, energy, and heart that makes Memphis what it is.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, I absolutely love this dance. And I agree that this routine was so authentically Memphis. They have this style that is just like so unique to them. And it's like in the best way possible. The way that I can describe it is like grunge hip hop, I think is like its own like musical genre, but like this is it embodied. But yeah, I just love Memphis's styles and what they bring year after year. 8th place was Washington State, and they were in 10th after semis, so jumped up 2 spots. They did a routine to Bad Man by Missy Elliott, and this was their 3rd year with choreographer Danielle Moulton. And the way that they played with the percussion in the beginning, chef's kiss, wonderful. The ripple on the drum beats and the hair on the cymbals, choreo gold, love. So there's this lyric that says, "If them boy play bad man." This girl had like a little solo part and she was like in like a plank position, but like twerking her legs and getting lower each time. And like, I'm obsessed. Like, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. She just killed that part. And there's a full group turning tuck jump into a jazz split into floor work. So clean, so fun, 10 out of 10. They had a lot of fun ripples in this dance that went so well with the drum beats. They're very well done. Moving on to 9th place, Temple University. They are back-to-back finalists for the first time in program history. So congrats to Temple. That is so exciting. Their song was an Anaconda like remix by Nicki Minaj. Choreography was done by Brandy Tucker, and song choice was 10 out of 10. Baddie energy, strong, powerful, feminine energy throughout. They did an absolutely crazy lift on But He Live in a Palace. They did this crazy lift and they lifted this girl up and she twisted twice in the air while they're holding her with like one arm. It was crazy. And you just heard the crowd go nuts. They were so loud and the choreography was amazing. They had these like long pony braids. There's this part in the song that says something he can grab, and some of the girls smacked other girls right on the butts. There was a lot of booty work and a lot of emphasis on booties. This dance was like an absolute crowd pleaser. Such an entertaining routine, and you could tell the dancers were just having a blast too. In 10th place was Arizona State. They did Give 'Em a Show by Lou Sid. Their choreographer was Toya Renee Ambrose. Assistants were LaShawn DeAndre and Sylvia Love. They are back after a 5-year absence from UDA, and I need one of their like leather Letterman jackets that they had, and I would gladly rep Arizona State if it meant I could have one of those jackets. And I've never heard this song before, but I have never added a song to my playlist so quickly as I did this song. There's this part in the song that says like, "Why did you gas me up?" And it's just like, it like lives rent free in my brain, as well as the choreo that the team did along with it. It was just so fun. And they told us ahead of nationals about the Chicago influences, and I know we were very curious about that. And their choreographer, Toya, is actually the head coach of the Lovables, which are the Chicago Bulls dancers. And I'd love to dive deeper into what exactly Chicago hip hop is, but this episode just simply doesn't allow for that. But if you go on YouTube and you watch videos of Chicago hip hop and then watch ASU, you definitely see the similarities. There's a lot of footwork and intricate movements that showcase in this style.
So now we're heading into jazz. And in first place, we have Ohio State again. Also, just like in Pom, University of Minnesota was back to back to back to back. Now Ohio and jazz is back to back to back to back national champs. So they, I feel like both have now settled in their categories. I feel like for a lot of years, they were like first and second, like flipping off between both of these categories. And now I feel like they're both like, okay, this is our groove. This is our thing, you know? But anyway, they did their dance. They called it the Black Swan, and the music was by La Rosalia. It was choreographed by Shannon Mather. Associate choreographer was Nicole Smith, and the assistant choreographer was Emma Mather, which is Shannon's daughter. Their consultant was Ricky Ubeda. So Shannon Mather actually explained the thought process and story behind this choreo, so I wanted to share. She said, "The Black Swan is about duality, who you are when contained and who you become when you claim your power. This piece was built on contrast, control versus freedom, softness versus ferocity, tradition versus instinct. The Black Swan represents the moment a woman stops asking for permission motivation when restraint becomes power. And I just think she represented the duality so magnificently, because before I even read her description, like in my head, this is exactly the way that I described it before reading that. Like, so graceful, even though it's like full of these awkward modern shapes and like chaotic theatrical elements. I don't know how else to describe it. Like the way that they like move their body was just like chaotic at times, but it's so graceful. And so I just felt like the way I described it was a duality without even realizing it. And so she clearly did a great job of communicating her purpose and her intent and her story through this dance. I also just feel like that's Ohio, right? Like they can literally make anything beautiful. Wonderful, like just beautiful dance that got a lot of love online. So that was really fun to see them get their flowers, as we say. In second, we had LSU. They danced to Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. Iconic. Theirs was choreographed by Kristen Daniel with seasoning, in quotes, seasoning from Brian Friedman. So usually they call it consultant, but here they called it seasoning. So I don't know if that means something different, but that's fun because he was Britney Spears' choreographer. So to have him come in is also iconic.
Was he?
Yeah, he was her backup dancer. Yeah, for years and years and years. He posts about it like all the time. It's so fun to watch him. So young. Yeah, crushing it. This is the highest placement in the jazz category in program history. So very monumental for LSU. They mentioned in their caption that they're the first team to break into the top 2 in jazz since 2017, which is crazy.
So are you saying that Ohio and Minnesota
Yeah.
have been top 2
Yes.
since
I was going back
2017 in jazz?
when I was doing like prepping for this episode, and like I just kept going and going and going, and it was never ending. But yeah, this was just an absolute mic drop of a dance. They embodied Britney Spears. Like every single person on that team was born to perform to her music. And in our predictions episode, we mentioned that we found out what song they were dancing to. We hadn't seen the dance, but even just knowing the song, we were like, top 3. They're going to crush it. They've never done that in program history, but yeah, like not even a question.
Easy.
So yeah, that turn that they did, the attitude turn that they did under the lift, the part where they like dragged that girl across the floor while she like slowly put her hands down her body. I like so good. She's like, this is pop music. Like you do what you have to do. You sacrifice your body for performance. She crushed it. My 3 words to describe this dance were milky, clean, and fierce. So I'm going to leave it at that. Congratulations to LSU. Like very well deserved. In third place, we have University of Minnesota. So they were 4th going into finals and ended up jumping ahead to 3rd. They danced to Maybe This Time by Liza Minnelli. It was choreographed by alumni Ava Wagner and assistant coach Lauren Busen. So really fun to have some of their own choreographing their dance for them. I felt like by the way that they were all describing it, it was very personal for them. I loved this dance more and more every single time I watched it. The costumes were kind of giving like synchronized swimmer. And it was very musical theater and just really entertaining following along with the storyline. It just really drew you in. They're always so good. You mentioned like having close-ups. I feel like they really projected their facials and like the energy through their body. And so I feel like even though I haven't seen a close-up, I've seen a few clips of close-ups and I just felt like you could really see and feel their energy. So it was obviously very technical as always, and just another impeccable routine by University of Minnesota.
With another great storyline. I think they did the storyline in jazz, whereas Ohio did their story and their message in Pom. Because the Maybe This Time was like, maybe this time will be good enough for you guys to stop being so negative towards us on social media. So I think a lot of people interpreted it as maybe this time we'll win. Like, no, that's not, no. Minnesota is never going to be like, maybe this time we'll win. Like, they're never going to do that. It was so much deeper than that. And I know that the lyrics say maybe this time we'll win, but that is very surface level. If you dig into the root of this song, it's so much more than that. Just go like look into Cabaret and what exactly is happening in the musical when Sally is singing this song, because it's like, it's so much more powerful than winning.
In 4th, we have Texas Tech. They danced to Choreomania by Florence and the Machine. It was choreographed by Teddy Forens, assisted by Kaya Messenior, consulted by Braylon Browner and Melissa Kidd. They described this dance as pushing themselves outside their comfort zone and growing in their artistry and athleticism. It was a very contemporary dance that had in my opinion, like so many satisfying visuals, which I feel like is very Teddy Florence. I can totally see how this would push their artistry and athleticism. Like in order to create the visuals that they did and make them appear like controlled and effortless, like you have to do in dance, it would take so much strength and technique. And so I just can't imagine how much work that they put into this routine. And based on the captions and the team's comments and how proud they are of all of their hard work and like how it paid off and culminated in this beautiful final performance. Regardless of placement, I am really proud of them and think they're really proud of themselves, and that's what matters. So congrats to Texas Tech. That was just a beautiful routine. In fifth, we have San Diego State University. They danced to Conga by Gloria Estefan, choreographed by Raven Gant and Quentin Perrone. Their ballroom technique teacher was Katerina Klishina. She was Dancing with the Stars season 31. They absolutely served in this dance from beginning to end. I wanted to be in this dance. They deserved the second place finish in prelims. After prelims, they were in second place. And I just love that for them because this dance was so fun. I can't imagine how much extra work it took too, learning all of the ballroom technique. Like watching it is so fun, but just like all of the prep work for that must have been crazy. They absolutely made their mark on the UDA floor. And yeah, this dance is going to be remembered forever. And I love that girl that did that like crazy leg on the floor, she posted a tutorial on their Instagram of how to do it. And they literally had to like put a disclaimer. They were like, please do this safely. Like, don't hurt yourself, basically, which like anyone who's doing that is going to hurt themselves. So be careful, people.
That's so
But
funny.
she's crazy and amazing. Coming in sixth, we have University of Tennessee. They danced to The Dance by Charlotte Martin. It was choreographed by Jacqueline Royal, assisted by Bailey Krusek. They just absolutely committed to this routine. It was just a beautifully executed piece of art. So Jacqueline Royal is the artistic director for Royal Flux Dance Company, and they are like known for their beautiful like visuals and innovative like lifts and like shapes, almost like Dietrich's, but in a more like contemporary setting. And so it was really fun to see her on the UDA floor and what she came up with for the team. One of the things I loved, like one of my favorite parts of the routine was when that girl does a handstand and the guy holds her leg and like everybody freezes. And then on the next beat, they like drop, like she drops to an elbow, but is still like upside down. And he like drops to his knee. It was like, and then the groups in the back do the same thing. It was really cool visual. So yeah, just awesome dance. I love that matchup of Jacqueline Royal and University of Tennessee. In seventh place was University of Oklahoma. They danced to Fear and Fridays, the poem by Zach Bryan. It was choreographed by Alana Kaiser and Brittany Bennett of AB Choreo. Just another piece of art. I was really moved by this poem and just the way that this team brought it to life, and feel lucky to have witnessed this routine. I think that was like a bold choice, and I love that for the innovation and just bringing something new to the UDA floor. I think it's really inspiring for other teams too to see people push the boundaries and get outside their comfort zone. And it was beautiful. In eighth place, we have Washington State University. They danced to Mine Hair by Liza Minnelli, a second Liza Minnelli song in D1A Jazz, which is crazy.
Busta Rhymes in hip hop and Liza
I could not
Minnelli
have
in
guessed it if I
jazz.
tried. Their choreographer was Taylor Svietkov and Haley Hoffman. Another strong musical theater performance. I loved the way their costumes enhanced this routine. They had like the one black arm sleeve, and it was so clean, that scene, that kind of like we talked about in last week's episode with Weber State, having like the two-tone costumes, like black on one side and white on the other. It just really adds to the visuals when you have like such a clean, tight routine. It makes it so much more satisfying when you've got also like the flip of the colors. Just really fun and energetic from beginning to end, like very classic jazz.
This one was a crowd pleaser too. Everybody that was there watching, and I would give anything to go back and watch this one in person, because like everybody in person just like adored this routine. And like I loved it too, like watching on a screen, but like the response from the people that were there in person watching was unbelievable. So I just like, I want to know what the energy was like that Washington State was giving off, because it must have just been electric.
In ninth, we have University of Alabama. They dance to Lost It to Trying by Sun Lux. It was choreographed by Kim Wolf and Kaya Hill. They said that this routine represents months of trust, discipline, and growth. It was another very athletic routine. I mean, just dance in general is getting more and more athletic every year. It's always been a sport. It's always been athletic, but just the way that they're pushing themselves. It's the same with like cheerleading. Like every year, every team just gets better and better and better, and you just keep pushing the bounds of what's humanly possible. So I just felt like I saw that in this routine, how far dance has come athletically, and that it required the commitment from every dancer. In 10th, we have University of Michigan. They danced to Ramalama Bang Bang by Roisin Murphy. It was choreographed by Chase Hudson and assisted by Alexa Miller. They have the same choreographer as last year. Chase has very unique choreography, and it requires like very small, intricate, controlled movements. And I just feel like Chase's choreo fits this team really well. It's like a wonderful partnership. And just the way that they thank him for like his dedication to like the team's journey, like he's like a part of it with them. So I love that for them. Very cool choreo, very cool dance. In 11th is Florida State University. They danced to Her Lies in a Box 2 version by Asafa Vidon, choreographed by Chase Bowden and Holden Maples.
So this dance was like very clean and very powerful choreo. They do this full team turning open leap / turning disc, but they're slightly leaning back so that their legs are all above 180, and all of them got so much height and they all did it so well. And then another part that I loved, their ending and the way that they moved their bodies, like shaking towards the end, was just like so unique. And it looked very cool all together in a unit. Like, I bet, when you like, as a dancer, a choreographer comes to you and is like, we're going to do this really weird move. And you're like, I look terrible doing that. But then you see it all together as a unit and you're like, that's so cool. But that requires commitment from every single person. Because if one person isn't committing to it,
it requires that
it doesn't
trust.
turn out.
Like you have to trust that as a full team that this looks really cool, even if you feel silly doing it.
I would say that Florida State like really, really committed to this routine and this style. In 12th place was Penn State. Oh, this dance. Their song was to Can't Take My Eyes Off of You by Frankie Valli. And no one was noted for their choreographers in their jazz posts, but they did note their choreographers in their pom posts. So that makes me wonder if this was coach or team choreographed. It was like an insane asylum theme, basically. They like took the song in a very different direction than what I think it's intended for. And then they had the costumes to match. So it was giving like straight jacket, and they had moves throughout that like also went with the theme. It was very modern style dance, but I just love how they played into the different idea of Can't Take My Eyes Off of You from like a crazy, like lock me up side instead of the like head over heels, guy in love, like so sweet. Just like so, who thinks of that? It's so creative, so original, so fun. And a lot of people online wish this dance placed higher. And honestly, like, I get it. With the originality of this routine and like the creativity was just like spectacular. So awesome. I just think that this category was really, really, really tough. I think all the categories were really, really tough this year. But yeah, I don't envy the judges at all this year.
Well, and I think like we were saying, it's like apples and oranges in this category sometimes. Like there's so many different styles that this category encompasses that it's hard to compare them. I don't envy the judges either because I don't know how they would do that. And I just think admiring each one of these dances for what they are and what they bring to the table, which is something different than every other dance in this category, is what we have to do because, yeah, this was, like you were saying, just the incredibly creative routine that all of the dancers committed to and told this crazy story that like everyone will remember forever. So
they're all first place in our hearts.
That's right.
Well, I think the theme of today was just all of these dances are so amazing in their own right. Even the teams that like we didn't talk about today, like I loved watching all of D1A. I thought everybody like had so much talent and literally anyone could have gone to finals and I wouldn't have been surprised. All of the movement that happened between last year and this year too, except for those top 3 teams. And with Minnesota and Ohio winning for so many years in their categories, I don't know if it's going to last next year.
Yeah. I almost feel like this was like a nice transition to that instead of like having both of them like drop in both categories. Like that would be heartbreaking. I feel like it was nice that like they each still like won one category and then in the other category they weren't in second like they normally are. They were in third. So it's almost like easy.
A soft launch.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know what next year will bring, but we do feel like some of these teams are going to continue to show up and show out. So
I think there's going to be big shakeups in hip hop, especially next year. I'm like overwhelmed even thinking about like everything that's going to happen next year. So we're going to wrap up before
we get too anxious.
Yes. But as we are closing out today, we just wanted to let you guys know that we're going to take a week or 2 off just to like get caught up with life. The pre, during, and post UDA life has been very, very busy. So in the meantime, you can go back and listen to episodes that you haven't listened to yet, especially the rulebook one. I feel like not many people have listened to that one.
And I was going to say people that even competed at UDA. Like we heard from someone who competed for 4 years at UDA and said that they learned new things from our rulebook episode. So go listen to it.
And we really did try to make it interesting and engaging. But in the meantime, go listen to episodes that you haven't listened to before and let us know what you'd like us to talk about in the future, because we're starting to plan kind of the off season and topics that we want to touch on, who you want to hear from. So if there's any storylines that you want us to follow and lean into a little bit more, let us know. And let us know if you'd be interested in us reporting on NDA, because we're kind of starting to game plan the next few months and wanted to gauge interest on that. I think we are definitely interested in doing that. Probably not all 5 days because NDA is a very long competition and I have a full-time job and Shan's a full-time mom. So we are very, very busy, but we promise to do the best that we can because those dancers deserve their flowers as well. So let us know if you're interested in that.
If you are interested in that, let us know if there's like a specific team, a specific category, or like let us know specifics with that. And that way, because it is so many days, like it'll help us to decide how we want to break that down and the things we want to focus on so that we're, reporting on what you all are interested in.
All right, you guys, we say it every week. Follow, subscribe, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Threads, pretty please. We are so grateful for every single one of you who tune in week after week. If this was your first episode ever listening to us, thank you so much for joining us. We do encourage you to also go listen to the Division 1 and Open Division episodes as well, because those divisions also have amazing teams with amazing dances. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend, teammate, family member, coach, somebody that you think would enjoy listening. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you back in a few weeks. But thank you so much for breaking down Division 1A UDA College Nationals with us. We'll see you right back here next time for all things college dance. This has been
8 Count Breakdown.